Hey everybody, I'm gonna give everybody just a second to get here. Trying to make sure everything's working. This is the first time I've done 3 cameras all by myself. So hopefully things go well. I'm sure they will. So welcome. I'm gonna give everybody just a second. I started a minute early, which never happens to me, ever. And there's some bings and bongs going on in other places in the office here. Hold on, I'm gonna turn off Eric's notifications so that he's not talking and his phone isn't talking. He is like a man without his phone. I sent him away and kept his phone here. We have an extra phone that we let Sam use sometimes, so he's using that, but he was like, what, you need my phone? So I have 2 phones going here for Facebook, and then the video camera going for our replay. So I'm going to give everybody else about 30 seconds. But I will say that if you are joining me live, if you stay till the end, then if you are not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, I have something awesome for you. If you are a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, I will send you love and blessings. And how about free phone chat if you want? And I'll tell you everything about how you can get that here in just a second. I think, actually, my watch says it's 12 straight up. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me get all comfy. So welcome. We're going to talk today about cultivating head, heart, and home. So this is how you get the freebie at the end. So listen up, because if you don't listen up, then you won't hear it. So you have to be here right now. Like I'm looking at my watch, it says it's noon. So I am going to say something at the end, and it's going to correlate to something at the beginning. So you have to pay attention. So this is what I want you to remember. Let's see. My first dog's name was Hexie. So that's what I'm going to ask you in the end, in the comments. That's how I'll know that you stayed the whole time, is I'll ask you the name of my first dog. So, so if you want some freebie stuff, stay the whole time. If you are a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member and you're here joining, I would love for you to comment about how much you love your product and how much fun you have and how much it's helped you. So, so somebody says, Hexie, yes. Hexie means witch in German, and yes, Hexie, Hexy was her name, and we lived in Germany when I was a kid. So you don't need to know that for anything that I'm going to say today, except for at the end. If you want freebie, I'll ask you at the end. You'll have to tell me in the comments, and on Instagram you'll have to DM me because yeah, then I won't lose it. So we did this great video series called Cultivating Head, Heart, and Hands. Or Head, Heart, and Home. Sorry. I already messed it up. See? Cultivating Head, Heart, and Home. So, somebody says, OMG, believe it or not, TFW has improved my marriage. Oh yes, I believe it. It has improved a lot of marriages. You don't even know how many people send me those messages in so many ways. So we're going to talk about all of that today. Where was I? Oh, Cultivating Head, Heart, and Home was our video series. If you missed it, if you are a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, the first 2 videos are in our group already. And if you are not, I'll put them in in my bio on Instagram. And we'll have Kelly do a post about them on Facebook so that you guys can see them there too. It was a great video series. We had a lot of fun. And I know a lot of you saw our ad that we did, which was fun because it was our first use of green screen. And, my husband has a film degree, and so he was really excited that he got to use some of that. And we had some fun. And what was funny about it is that now we're going to use it a lot more because it was so much fun. Like I had to tell you, my 12-year-old, who's almost 13, he says, I can think of so many applications to use this green screen. So he's coming up with like, and then even Soraya, who those of you who follow us on Instagram know that she loves unicorns and Godzilla. I know that's a crazy combination, but that's her deal. She was like, you could make it like there's buildings in the background and I'm stomping on them like Godzilla, but buildings with no people in them, because that would be mean. She's really funny. Anyway, so that's our use of green screen. But getting into our topic, cultivating head, heart, and home. So that's kind of what we do with Thinking, Feeling, Willing. But I want to go through sort of, the things that we talked about in the videos and why I think it's so important and why I think that really and truly, if you can get on this road and really dive in, it will change your life. And we really have, we've been working with families for a long time. I've been working with families even before I ran Waldorf Essentials, which used to be called A Little Garden Flower years ago. Even before then, so before Eric and I married. So I started working with families when my oldest was about 8. And so I had 8, 6, and 4 were the ages of my big 3. And I was a single mom, and I had been writing things for myself, because back then, guys, there was Oak Meadow and there was Liebed. And that was even before Christophorus really started anything. So I had Eric Fairman's guides, and I love Eric Fairman. He actually, I know him. He's not like I know him, like he's my bestie or anything like that. But he and I have exchanged many emails over the years, and he wrote the foreword in our grade 1 book. So, I had the support of a Waldorf teacher, and he gave me all this encouragement. And back then there was I don't think there was Facebook then. That was like 100 years ago, you guys. There was no Facebook, and everything was email. And he was very responsive. And when I started writing things for my own kids, people wanted to hear what I had to say, because I had really been studying. When I got divorced, I threw myself into inner work and into studying what I loved. And I really loved Waldorf education. And even though there's a part of Steiner that I'm like, that's not right. It was so fascinating that I studied and studied and studied, which I know is a weird thing, because people say, what novels are you reading? I'm like, I don't think A Child's Changing Consciousness qualifies as a novel. But I dug into all of this stuff, and I was in a point in my life where I had 3 kids and I was a single mom. So I had that piece, but I didn't have a ton of outside obligations otherwise. My ex-husband made a lot of money. So, when I was a single mom, I wouldn't say like well taken care of, but I didn't have to stress so much. I lived in one of the lowest economic places in the United States at the time. So what came in was very much it took care of me. And it wasn't until I decided, I want something more. He's kind of cranky. I don't want to always have to rely on him, that I really started building from there. So, I had been studying a lot of Steiner, and I started working with moms. And then it was just like emails back and forth. I was back in the days of Yahoo groups, if y'all remember that. Some of us still have some Yahoo groups, but like 1,000 years ago. So I just started building up from there. When I remarried, and Eric was actually, so he has a degree in film and a degree in journalism. And he was working on getting a degree in education. And I fixed him from that. It was funny, when we first started dating, he was taking this class on like education theory and educational methods. And so he was trying to pick my brain about different, methods. And he knew that I was like way into this. Like that was the deal breaker. Like I thought, if you can't handle that I homeschool and this is what I'm into, sorry, see you later. But he was all into it. And so he did this paper. He got like a D, but he did this paper on comparing, it seems like he was comparing Steiner, Charlotte Mason, and then some other traditional method. And he got like a D. And my husband's a good student, so it's really kind of funny that that he was like, okay, I don't have time for that. And so he was a newspaper reporter. He continued to be a newspaper reporter until about a year and a half into our marriage when he came home to work with us. So about when I was pregnant with Samuel, and he's almost 13, so about 13 years ago, I really started doing more. I bought my first URL, and it was called A Little Garden Flower at the time. And at the time it was just like a blog, and it just had a few things on it. I didn't really have anything for sale. I was doing some consults here and there, but I was charging like $15 an hour. But it was small, and it was tiny, and it was enough. It kept me going. It kept me really wanting to learn more. And then after when Sam was about 9 months old, I decided I wanted to write the very first kindergarten curriculum, which is very different than the kindergarten curriculum is now. It was more of a guide, and it sold like gangbusters. And so let's see, it was about 12 years ago. And so what we did from there is we thought, okay, there is a need in the community, not just for curriculum, but for curriculum written by a homeschooler who actually walks it, who's been there like the whole time. I think that definitely some of the other writers have homeschooled at times, but I homeschooled the whole way. And I think that really sets us apart, because I understand you and I understand your struggles. So when I talk about cultivating head, heart, and home, I'm talking about being able to walk the same walk you walk. And so we have 5 children, and right now we only have 2 at home, which is very odd because our life was so full and so busy and so crazy for so long. Now it feels really strange, but good strange for sure. So, when I say, let's talk about like who you are and how you show up and your inner work pieces with regards to temperament, it really is so that you can hone yourself and understand everybody around you. And when you do those, just that one piece out of the 3 that we're going to talk about today, but just that one piece helps you so much. So if you watch the video series and you're brand new to us, I definitely want you to hop over to waldorfessentials.com, and in the resources section, we have a document called Temperament Parenting. And that will help you if you're still struggling trying to figure out which temperament you are. I want you to know that understanding temperament is a lifelong pursuit. It doesn't change over time, but you understand more over time. We've also been doing, in our Monday videos, we have been doing, excuse me, in our Monday videos, we have been doing temperaments every week. So we've got one left. We did the sanguine, the choleric, and the phlegmatic was this last week. So if you're on Facebook, you can scroll through our videos and see them there. They are also on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So I definitely think you should dive into understanding temperament. The very last temperament, the melancholy, that we're going to work on, that will be on the 29th. Again, Monday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific time. What I want to say about temperament is it's a game changer. I truly, truly believe that temperament is attached to your soul. Now, again, this is like the gospel according to Melissa, the Waldorf gospel according to Melissa. I believe that it's attached to your soul. Steiner believed that it was very much attached to you in a deep way too. And what I find is that it sits lower. So people ask me all the time, well, what about Myers-Briggs? Like tell me about like, how does that go in with Myers-Briggs or with temperament, personality types? And I actually really believe that it sits kind of in this lower place. So I feel like temperament sits here, and because it belongs to our soul. And these other pieces sort of belong to this body that we carry around. So, definitely I have this strong belief that we are spiritual beings on a human journey. And that's not from a religious place. I mean, yes, I am religious, but definitely not thinking that anybody needs to be on the same walk that I am. Just sort of saying that this is where I believe that those come together. So I feel like temperament sits here and all those other things sort of sit on top. And they integrate. I mean, they integrate often, and you can see some very beautiful things, but I would love to see a chart, and it may be off the wall crazy, but I would love to see a chart that showed different temperaments and then overlay Myers-Briggs on top of it, because I think that you would see some very interesting things. Just because temperament really informs how we show up always and like at our core. So I want to get some comments over here. Feel free to comment. We will go as long as we need to go. I want to get through all of the material that I have, and then whatever questions you guys have. So thank you guys for sharing and coming on. Let's see. Hello to Elizabeth and Lisa and Miranda. I'm new here and I've started watching the temperament videos last week. I'm loving them. Can't wait to learn more. Like I said, it's a lifelong study, but the more you understand, Elizabeth said, we are secular and I appreciate the honest with the spiritual side. So what I want to say about that, I forget who it was that said it, but you won't get wet by saying the word water. So anybody who approaches this work and is really struggling, you have to put your own word there. You know, I call it God. You could call it source. You could call it goddess. You could call it the great spaghetti bowl if that makes you happy. But really and truly, this is about your journey. It's not about my journey. So your journey is going to look much different than mine. So you can call that whatever feels comfortable to you. I have called it different things in the 46 years that I have been on this planet. So I want you to feel comfortable knowing that you can call it whatever feels good. And I won't judge you either way. I have walked a Christian path and a pagan path and a little bit of an atheist path. I have walked all those paths. My path right now is a Christian path, but that doesn't mean I have any issues with anybody in any faith that they're choosing to walk, because I feel like when you stand in your power and you stand in your place and you're walking forward with it, guess what? It all works for you. And so you do you. And I think that that's fantastic. So again, I want you to take the time to really understand your temperament, to study it. The more you study it, the more you will find that you'll understand more. It will deepen for you. You will really find yourself seeing things in other people, and it will trigger like, okay, well, I thought we were alike and we are not at all alike, you know, that kind of thing. I had this great chat with my son just before I came live, and we were talking about his dad and his grandma, and he is from my first marriage, and we were just talking about how they were the same but how they were different, and that's because one is a phlegmatic with a melancholy side, and the other is a melancholy with a phlegmatic side. So they have a lot of threads that are very much the same. This fear of change, dreading change kind of thing, glasses half empty kind of place. But they also have some pieces that, are amazing, generally a lot of empathy, really wanting the best for people for the most part. So I think that truly the best way to study temperament is to study yourself and then start looking at those around you. Remember with children that you will not have a full knowledge of their temperament until they get older. So I saw two of my children both have a strong melancholy streak, both have a strong sanguine streak. One was sanguine with a touch of melancholy, while the other one was melancholy with a touch of sanguine. And when they're teenagers, they flipped. So now I've got one that's more sanguine with a touch of melancholy and one that's definitely more melancholy with a touch of sanguine. So you want to just sort of watch that as it unfolds. Puberty does things, we all know. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know what hormones do to us as adults. So those hormones, as they start to really develop in them, they're going to do some interesting things to them, and it will really help bring out what's already down there, deep down in there. So you will see it coming out more. So let me grab a couple more comments. It's easier for me to figure out others' temperaments than my own. It's hard accepting my faults. It is. A lot of people, you know what's really funny? As people will say to me, I really don't want to be a choleric. I really don't want to be a melancholy. And I go, sweetie, what you want is immaterial. The best thing you can do is own it and balance. When you own it and you balance, things are so beautiful in your life. Because when you own it, you can own the space of, gosh, it's okay for me to be sad. Even though there are people around me, they're like, cheer up. You know, it's okay for me to have this sad place as long as I don't stay camped here, because that's the balance part, right? And if you're choleric and you just really like to dominate and get things done, hey, I'm with you, sister. I'm the boss lady with you. You are a check the box kind of gal. And when you see those check boxes, I bullet journal, and every week I love to see all the check boxes that are done. That is just a little bit about me. I think that when you are in that space, own it. It's okay, because it's like you have to own you're weird. You have to own that space that you are. And when you do, you show up so much better. When you are worried about your own temperament, you don't show up the way you want to. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna grab some more comments over here. I love the deep dives into the nuts and bolts of it that seems to be lacking in some other curriculums. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I appreciate that comment. She was talking about our kindergarten curriculum. So I'm so glad you're giving us a test drive, and I hope you stick with us. Christina says, if I had not discovered you and Thinking Feeling Willing, I would not have the confidence in the tools to homeschool my daughter. I had become a better parent, and my marriages also began to run smoother. You helped me. Let's see. Sorry. Hold on. You helped my husband and I land on the same parenting page. You know what? That's so, I wish I could just give you a hug. I know you're a county away, but I hope you can feel my love, Christina. We are forever grateful and consider myself a perpetual student. That's really, you know, where we have to be. I talked when we opened Thinking Feeling Willing last time, I talked about this, like knowing thyself. And I gave an analogy that I think I'm going to go ahead and give again really quick. You know, there's this, and I'm going to butcher part of the story, so forgive me, but there's this, this wise man, and people are always coming to him to get more information. And one guy came to him, and he was like, I'm here, things are going bad, really, but I've done everything, nothing works. And as he's saying that, the wise man is like pouring a cup of tea, and he's going on and on about everything that he's tried and how nothing is working. And the tea is like overflowing, and the guy's like, wait, stop. What are you doing? You're overflowing my cup of tea. And the wise man said, the full cup doesn't have any room for anything else. You have to empty your cup out and be ready to learn in order for this to really work for you. And, you know, I often am faced with moms that are like, I have tried everything with rhythm. Rhythm just doesn't work for me. But then when I go, so talk to me about why you didn't feel safe to have rhythm in your childhood. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. So I just have to laugh and say, you have to be ready to jump in and look at all the ugly. And you don't have to look at it all at once, because it can be scary. I totally get it. It takes time. You know, some of our Thinking Feeling Willing members I've been working with since the beginning. So the program started 7 years ago. We started writing curriculum when Sam was little, a baby, and Eric came home and started working with us. And there was a need for more and more. Like, I kept thinking, I wish I could put all of the knowledge that I have from all the years of doing it in one place. And we went around and around for a long time, probably because the technology wasn't there. I've always been like wanting to do things, and Eric's like, there's no tech for that. So I have had to wait. But now is this amazing time. Over the last 7 years, our program has grown from being on a blog that had a password on it to, like, I just built the 4th membership site. Y'all, I wanted to throw up on Monday, but I got it done. We've spent all of this time, and as technology's gotten better, we've gotten better. As tech has gotten easier, that we've been able to implement things. And I wanted a place where I could bring everything that I know. And now it's not just what I know. We have these leaders, we have these amazing families that are part of our community. And so we are all sharing together, and it's a beautiful place to be. We have some amazing people. So, all right, back to inner work. So once you have this inner work piece start to sort out, then you understand yourself with regards to rhythm. If you are really struggling with rhythm, then there's probably a place in your past where rhythm has not been safe for you. And, maybe you struggled, maybe you had a childhood that was less than stellar. Maybe you, which, I have to tell you, lots of us did, but it's all good. It's all good. I think that if you can sort out that piece of why rhythm doesn't feel safe to you, then you can sort out this piece of, well, how can I make it feel safe for my kids? Children need rhythm. It's just, Eric and I are also parenting coaches, and we coach a lot of people that aren't in the Waldorf movement. And we talk about this, like, the fact that most parents are the cause of their kids' bad behavior. And as funny as it sounds, in fact, we did a workshop a while back called Straight Talk About Your Kids' Bad Behavior, and it's about rhythm. It's about rhythm. It's about how you show up. It's about how you are ready to face your children. It's about your relationship with your partner. That's what's going on with your kids. Your kids soak it all up, all of it, the good and the bad. And Elizabeth says it's so hard to break the cycle. It can be, yes. But I think the biggest thing is once you realize it's a cycle, once you tell yourself, okay, this is why I've been struggling with rhythm. I've been struggling with rhythm. I've got this piece in my past that I just need to sort out, but I don't have to be my past. I don't have to be the 8-year-old that was abused. I don't have to be the 10-year-old that was ignored. I don't have to be the kid that was pushed so hard. I don't have to be that person. I can step away from that. I can retrain my subconscious to be in a better place by doing lots of little things. We talk a lot about this in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. We work on, being in a good place inner work wise. We're going to be releasing some affirmation audios for members this summer, and really getting you into a place where you can start to recondition your subconscious mind. The subconscious is responsible for 95% of what we do every day. And so when we try to put something in there like willpower and we go, oh no, I'm going to will it to death. Often what happens is it's great for a couple of days, but then it's so hard because the subconscious is like, no, I have to protect you. You're uncomfortable. Come over here and just sit on the couch or sleep in. Stay up too late. I have to protect you. I want to make sure you're happy and comfortable. So don't you want to sleep until you wake up? That's what the subconscious does. And we go, oh yeah, it's too hard. I'm just going to do this instead. So like breaking those habits and breaking that cycle is like noticing that it's a cycle is the first piece. Once you notice it and you can really feel yourself dive into being ready to dive into that next space, then you're making progress. So understanding yourself, really honing in on rhythm. So secrets about rhythm. Do the actual rhythm chart. For those of you who have been working with me forever, that's the first thing I say. When was the last time you did your actual rhythm chart? And then I'll also ask, how's media in your house and how's movement in your house? Like, are you moving? Are you moving your body? Are you getting out and going for walks every day? Are you getting those kids moving? That's something that it has to happen, because otherwise things fall apart. If you've got kids that are tantruming, several times a day, you have to step back and go, when was the last time they went for a good long walk? And when I say good long walk, I mean it. So Soraya is, sorry, it's loud right now all of a sudden. Soraya is almost 8. She'll be 8 on Monday. I can't believe she's going to be 8 on Monday. So crazy. It's bittersweet. She's my last. Very bittersweet. But, so she's going to be 8 on Monday. Since she was 4, so for the last 4 years, got me? She's walked at least 3 miles a day. So why? Well, a couple of reasons. One, she's got some sensory stuff going on. She's very sensory seeking, And I definitely think she's got some ADD. She's got some letters going on there. And that helps a ton. And two, because they need it. They need the movement. I have moms that will say to me, oh, well, they play out in the backyard. That's not enough. I don't care if you live on a country dirt road, map out a mile or half a mile, walk to it and walk back 2 or 3 times a day. We do it first thing in the morning, like after breakfast, and like before lessons. And then we generally do it again after quiet time in the afternoon, and generally have one right around dinner or after dinner, before bed. Often, especially in the summer, she'll put on pajamas and we'll go for a walk in her PJs. So I want you to get in the habit of asking yourself these questions. Especially because often it's dad that's like, why are these kids so crazy? You've been with them all day. What did you do to them? Oh my goodness. That's when you go, well, honey, turn off the TV and let's go for a walk. Kids act based on what's going on around them. They act based on how you show up and what you've got going on. So you definitely want a good rhythm in place, and you want to take time to craft it. So we have another series that's in our free resources called Crafting a Healthy Home Rhythm. And that sort of goes through nuts and bolts, but definitely you want to keep track of your actual first. Keeping track of your actual rhythm will help you, as you keep track of it, it will show you where your natural rhythm actually is. So don't try to keep it. If you're starting bare bones, don't try to keep something up. Just track your actual. And then look at it and go, oh, well, looks like there's a tantrum going on here in the afternoon. There's one going on here in the morning. And then you can sort of get a sense for, there needs to be a walk there. There needs to be some snacks here. If you turn on the TV every day at 3 o'clock because everybody's tired, look at all of those things that are going on. And you can only do that when you see the actual rhythm. I promise you, you are not spending your time the way you think you are. I do this myself a couple of times a year. I will pull out especially when it feels like all wonky. I will pull out the actual rhythm chart and go through and do it for a week, and then look at it and go, oh, okay, looks like I'm working longer than I think I am. And that's usually the place where Eric goes, have you given enough stuff to Kelly? Because it sounds like you're doing, give more things to Kelly. And Kelly's like, please give me more stuff. So, it's definitely because I like to do all the things. I tend to overschedule myself. And so, looking at the actual rhythm chart tells me whether or not I am doing what I think I am. And most of the time I'm not. Like in my head, sometimes I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to knit for 30 minutes a day. And what ends up happening is I look at the end of the week and I go, man, I only knitted twice this week. That's not really what I want. I really want to be able to knit every day because it calms me down. So if knitting's not your thing, if knitting frustrates you, don't use that as your calm thing. But for me, it really calms me down. And it keeps me in a good place. That's how I beat the wanting to watch the TV in the afternoon. Is I go, oh, I'm just going to grab my knitting needles and I might put on a podcast if kids are having quiet time, or we'll listen to Sparkle Story. Funny Sparkle Story anecdote. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but my kids are so funny. So I did mention that we are Christian, and so my kids go to Sunday school, and we've been talking because it's Holy Week, Easter's coming. We've been talking about, there's certain things that happen like each day in Holy Week. So yesterday we were talking about Jesus coming in on a donkey and people he ate with and cleansing the temple. We were talking about all those things, and I was like, Soraya, you know so much. You must have really been listening to your teachers at church. And she goes, no, it was all on the Sparkle Story. They talked about Anna Martin and Sylvia. So I just was laughing. So one mom here says, what's a Sparkle Story? Sparklestories.com. No affiliation, although I would love to be an affiliate for them. They need to start an affiliate program. Sparklestories.com has over 1,200 perfectly rated for development children's stories and teen stories, and now they got adult stories too. Best membership, we pay, I can't remember how much it costs. I don't pay those bills. So I think it's $15 or $19 a month, and you get all of their stories. So all of them. And they have an app, and there is nothing like, and they're all between like 12 and some of them are more than like an hour. So they're great if you've got kids that you're trying to wean off the TV. Sparkle Stories are amazing for that. We love Sparkle Stories a lot. Again, sparklestories.com. And I'm going to say this, if I don't come back to this when I'm done talking today, remind me to tell you guys something amazing about what we're doing, Sparkle Stories and stuff. Let's see. Grab me a couple more comments. Elisa says, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. There is not enough of it around, and I'm so happy to have come across Thinking, Feeling, Willing. Oh, I'm so too. So glad that you're here. Andy Marie says, thank you. So glad to be able to be here with you guys. Okay, so you've got your rhythm. Hopefully you understand what you're doing. The next piece is planning. So, and planning is the one where a lot of people go like, I'm out of here. I don't want to talk to you about planning. Or they'll say, I don't understand why I can't get my planning down right. I'm really struggling with this. This is things, I always feel like I'm behind. Things are not going like they should. How do I get this planning piece in place? And so most people do the big parts, but I have a few extra little things that I do in there. So one, when you start to do your planning, which if you have not started, if you're waiting for us in Planning for Peace, my Planning for Peace copies should be here tomorrow. So then I will be doing another video talking about that. Planning for Peace is also part of Thinking, Feeling, Willing. It's in Mom Lesson 6. Planning for Peace is a journal that I put together based on my successful years of homeschooling 5 children and exactly the plan that I put in place every year. And so that starts with, first, we're doing overall year planning. So that's when you get your calendar out. That's when you message your mother-in-law and say, what days are you coming again? You look at when Dad's got vacation if he's working outside of the home. You look at birthdays. You look at if you celebrate the moons. You look at that. If you, we live in San Diego, and we live about 2.5 blocks from the beach. So we are at the tide pools a lot. So I have the tidal calendar with me when I'm doing this planning. So when I lay it out, I do a block for each month. You can fold a big piece of paper. That's how I did it for years and years. It doesn't matter how you do it. Block for each month. So then you label your blocks, whatever month you're starting school with. So if it's September, August, whatever, and you do a block for each month. And then you transfer all that information into those blocks. Dad's birthday, your birthday, kids' birthdays, grandma's birthday if you celebrate it, all the holidays that you celebrate, anytime you're going to be on vacation. The idea with this big overall piece first is that you see anything that will interrupt school. Anything. That's one key piece. There's 2 key pieces I'm going to talk about, but that's one key piece that people don't do up front. They sit down and they plan on their blocks and they think they're all great, but then they go, wait a minute, I didn't even think about the fact that we're going to be gone for 3 weeks in October. Well, why not? It's on that big sheet where you start everything out. So I put all of that information there. And then once you've got that piece together, then you go deeper. So let me answer a question here. Andy says, super new, Thinking, Feeling, Willing. Where or how do I start? So you are not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, correct? So we're talking about the whole Thinking, Feeling, Willing program today. And I'm going to talk about all of the things that it includes. If you are in a rush, you can hop over there now if you'd like. It's thinkingfeelingwilling.com. And that way you can get started. But I will say this, I've been burning the midnight oil and the page is not as done as I'd like it to be. It will be more done later today, but it's pretty awesome so far. So check it out if you want, or wait, just don't swipe away. Just listen to everything we're going to talk about. Back, big picture. So you've got all those big picture things in place. From there, then you can start discussing what blocks you're going to do and where you're going to put them. See, it doesn't make any sense to do a botany block in December unless you live in on the other end of the world. If you live in the Southern Hemisphere, it makes perfect sense. Does not make any sense to do that in the United States or in the Northern Hemisphere. So you would want to put those blocks where it makes sense. And by laying them out and looking at the big picture, you can get a sense for, maybe you're going to be on vacation in Rome. That'd be awesome. And you can go see some things that go in with that Roman history block. Or, maybe you're going to be in a place where there's a lot of botanical gardens and you want to make sure that hits up with that botany block. Or maybe you're going to be in Europe where like in the town of Bremen during, some of your grade 1 blocks. So think about that. When you're looking at the overall, think about anything that you can do that will enhance that block. And part of it is placement. There are very few blocks, with the exception of the history ones, that can't be moved around. So I move around history block. I don't move the history blocks just because you can move them, but you should make sure they're sequential. You wouldn't want to have them all backwards. So there's that. Once you have this big piece done, then you go to the next piece. The next piece is planning your blocks, writing out what you want to do in your blocks, all of that. And we have all of this in the Planning for Peace Journal. Again, it's Mom Lesson 6 and Thinking, Feeling, Willing. You can also buy Planning for Peace separately on our website. Don't buy it yet because, you can buy it on our, the publisher has the new versions up there. The website does not have, the new digital versions are not there. The new site does. I'll talk about that more later. So after you've done this block plan, then here's the part that y'all forget. And this took me a lot of years to hone. After you have the block laid out, even if you have a curriculum that is open and go, more like ours, where you don't have so much planning, you still have to do this next step. Write your daily plan out to the letter. Everything that you're going to do in that lesson. Everything from the books that they're reading for free reading to the music lesson that you're teaching, to the verses you're going to do, to what time you're planning to start, to the page number in the curriculum you need to go to, everything. And then you've got to get your prop drawings done. So if you're doing prop drawings, so in Waldorf we do the drawing, or the art portion is part of the main lesson. And so if you're doing coloring with block crayon or block crayon drawing for your main lesson, you need to do it first so that you can see where you're going to struggle, so that your children can see where that struggle is going to be. You don't want to step in there and not have it down, because that's when you are met with resistance. So you want to have that daily plan honed. Now, if you're brand new to Waldorf and you watched our video series and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, I'll hold your hand through all that. No big deal. I just want to make sure that you all hear me when I say the daily plan is where it's at. The daily plan is where you lose people. The daily plan is where you get kids that don't want to listen and things that fall apart. You don't want that to happen. So you want your daily plan to be tight. So if this is a problem for you in your planning, you need to make sure that you are active in working to overcome that. So some tips about temperament and planning. A choleric child will only yield to another choleric that they trust. So if you are not choleric, that's okay. But you have to meet them where they are. So your choleric child is showing up ready for school, and if you are not ready, your credibility is gone, Mom. So if you've had this struggle in the past, absolutely you can mend it, but you only mend it by learning how to show up better. If you've got a sanguine child who wants things to be moving fast and you don't have your stuff planned out, guess what? You're gonna lose them too. They're gonna be off playing Legos or asking you to watch TV. You have kids that are asking you to watch TV in the morning when you should be doing school. That should be a lesson to you as to how your planning is and how your rhythm is going. If you keep children engaged, they're not gonna ask for that. You just gotta keep them engaged. You gotta keep them engaged and you gotta get your rhythm going straight. That doesn't mean you're always moving, but rhythm flows like a river. There's not blocks thrown in it to dam it up. And sometimes we're the blocks. So we had to stop being the blocks to the rhythm. So if you are struggling with having kids that are ready to learn, now I'm not talking about, I've talked in our podcasts in the past, in the videos in the past, my dear boy, who's now 20, and I love him to pieces, he's the one that I just talked to before I got on here. Every morning, he would walk downstairs and say, do we have to do school today? Every morning. That's different than the child who's like, I'm not listening to you because you don't know your stuff. There's a big difference. I would say, of course we're doing school. Come here. I love you. And yes, I would get tired of it because I'm choleric and I'm like, duh, we're doing school. What's wrong with you? That's not how I want to show up to him. I'm sure I showed up to him that way many times in my parenting with him. Just ask. But he has forgiven me. We all have to, it's all in how we're ready to show up and how much sleep we've had and all of that great stuff. I'm not asking that everybody be a perfect parent all the time. I'm definitely not a perfect parent every time. But you want to at least know your weaknesses. So having a child that's like, and we have to do school today, that's different from a child that's like, no, I'm not listening to you. Or I don't want to do that. Or I love this one. I know. I'm like, you don't know. You don't know. So why don't you just sit down here and let me tell you? So you want to be sure that you are ready to tell them. You want to be sure that you are ready to give them the lesson. I would rather have you bug off and go to the park and get your lesson straight for tomorrow than have you give a lesson that's halfway, because you will not feel good about it. Now, I have definitely had days where I'm like, we're just reading today. Grab the Narnia book. I'm just going to read out loud. We're just going to relax. There's definitely days like that. And you want to build enough breaks into your plan so that you can have days like that where you don't feel guilty and feeling like you're behind. So that's the last piece I want to talk about with regards to planning. You want to make sure you take plenty of breaks. Breaks are essential. So in fact, I want you to write that down. I don't care where you are. I want you to write it down. If you are on your phone, pull up your notes app and type it in your notes. You need to take plenty of breaks. Breaks are this golden thread that keeps your sanity and also helps you not get burned out. You definitely need to keep your breaks. So I take about every 10th day off. Now people go, holy cow, how do you do that? Well, I don't take any of the district holidays the way the district has them. So, and yes, there are definitely times when we take less time off than others, but it tends to be about every 10th day, sometimes every 14th day, depending on how busy we are. And if we're in a lesson block that feels really good and things are flowing well and nobody feels like they need a break. By taking those every 10th day off or so preventatively, then I am not messing with kids that are burned out and need a break, me that's burned out and needs a break. On that 10th day off, I do nothing with regards to school. We often, I'll be frank with you, I live in Southern California. On that 10th day off, you're either gonna find me at the beach or at Disneyland. We play really hard on that 10th day off. We have a lot of fun. And so because we look forward to those times of taking it off, that makes us work even harder when we are not taking it off. So on those other days, those other 9 days, everybody's bringing it. Everybody, and like all the temperaments are ready to go because they know, hey, next Tuesday, we're going to Disneyland. Like that, it's like they're excited. And they also are really generally excited because we often will go to the beach in the afternoons or, doing other fun things in the afternoons. They have this huge incentive to get school done and they're ready to work because I'm ready to teach. So you've got to decide, do I want this? And if I do, am I ready to teach? So that means you got to get your plan in place. So those 3 things are just this much of what we teach in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. So I thought I would talk about the program. And really, our doors are open now only twice a year. And I don't want you to go, oh no, I'm going to wait till the next time because the next time will be August. That door opening is for all the people that aren't planning now. You need to be planning now. Now is the time. If you want this and you want, that's the catch-up time. If you want to feel excellent about what you're doing with your kids, now is the time to sign up. So our doors will be open until next Thursday, which is the 25th. And so they're open from now until the 25th. We have some, we have some bonuses for those who sign up today. And then when it's closed, it's going to be closed until August. I'm going to go through the program and tell you everything that we have in the program right now. I will also say that often I just get a wild hair, or somebody will say, hey, we really need this, and I'll add something. And everybody that's a current member gets that, just because it was fun for me to add. I love this program. I work in this program constantly. I'm constantly working to make it better, add things to it. Last fall, I had a whole bunch of moms that were stressed about their kids reading and getting them reading. And so I sat down and I made a training program that's in our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program. It's one of the mom lessons. It's all about reading, writing, and spelling the Waldorf way. It takes you to from the very beginning all the way, because there's so much trepidation just about that first hurdle. And yes, there's probably, I heard one of our leaders said the other day that she read a report that said there's probably 20% of children have dyslexia. But that means 80% of them don't. So 80% of them are going to learn to read with no issues. And you want to make sure that you're ready to teach that, the Waldorf way, when you come to Waldorf. And it is very different from the mainstream way. It's very gentle, but also methodical. And in fact, Soraya is about done with first grade, and Eric came down today and he said, man, she is doing really good with her reading. And it's amazing to me how much confidence they have when they learn this way. But part of that is when they learn this way, it's again on how we show up continually. When moms say to me, I'm having all these struggles with reading, the first thing I say is, talk to me about your practice. Do you practice every single day? How's that going? What was your, how did you get to where you are right now? And then we lay out a plan for, okay, this is where you are now. Where do you want to be in a month? And we go from there. Those are things that we do in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. So let's start from the top. Thinking, Feeling, Willing currently has 17 modules. When we launched before, I think it only had 14. I am continually adding to it. So these are the modules. I hope I don't forget any. If you're a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member and I forget one, hop on there. Tell me which one I forgot. So Mom Lesson 1 is rhythm. It's all about honing your rhythm, getting it, understanding holding the space. And each module is very in-depth. Each module is probably like a college level course on the topic. And I really want you to be able to understand and put it into practice from the time you're starting it. So first module is rhythm. Second module is the Waldorf curriculum. It's kind of important if you're homeschooling with Waldorf. So then you understand what it looks like for each grade. We go through each grade, talk about it all, and there's a lot of podcasts and a lot of video content, so you can get very comfortable with it. There's also a lot of Steiner in there too, when you're ready to go down that road. Mom Lesson 3 is inner work, which goes hand in hand with Mom Lesson 4, which is temperament. So those two go together a lot. Mom Lesson 3, for inner work, includes about 45 hours of podcasts on inner work. We used to have a program called Be a Beacon years ago. It's going to get resurrected at some point, but not right now. We have all the podcasts from that are in there. So it's inner work. It's multi and non-denominational. So we talk about the beliefs of many different denominations. We also really work to keep it non-denominational, because inner work is just what it is between you and source, whatever name you put on that. So that's inner work is Mom Lesson 3, temperament is Mom Lesson 4, and again, that's lifelong pursuit. Mom Lesson 5 is form drawing. So we go through the ins and outs of form drawing, how to do it, when to do it, what to do, all of that. Mom Lesson 6 is planning, and it's my favorite mom lesson, I think, or maybe Mom Lesson 1 is. It's possible Mom Lesson 4 is. Those are my favorites. But planning is a big deal. That's where the Planning for Peace journal is. And planning is such a big deal in Waldorf. So that's Mom Lesson 6. Mom Lesson 7 is painting and drawing. So, you know, Waldorf is pretty particular when it comes to painting and drawing. And so we go through teaching you all of that. We are very blessed to have the block crayon drawing videos from Siglinda G. Francesca over at teachwonderment.com. And so that's part of our program. So you learn the ins and outs of coloring with block crayons and understanding it all. You know, why you should start with 3 colors instead of jumping into all of them, learning how to blend, all of that stuff. Then Mom Lesson 8 is modeling. So clay and beeswax, you know, all things a la Waldorf, why it's important, and like how you can bring it into your daily or weekly school practice. Let's see, Mom Lesson, was that an 8? Mom Lesson 9 is movement, and I'm super excited. We have some movement stuff in there now, but I'm super excited because there is a mom that is, she is doing all this work with Eurythmy in South Carolina, and she is going to, we're going to have a piece from her, and she's going to do a piece for our Mom Lessons. So that will be coming probably by fall. I think we're going to film her in June. So hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll have that together. And then let's see, movement music is Mom Lesson, no, that's not Mom Lesson 10. Mom Lesson 10 is handwork. So if handwork scares you, got your back. Knitting, crochet, embroidery, sewing, making peg dolls, all of it. I teach you how to do it all. There's videos. There are, I think there's like 30 some odd patterns. I try to add to it regularly. Now we're in a spot where I want other people, like other members are going to be adding to it. So there's that. We teach it all to you. And we've done some dyeing of yarn. We have so much fun. Love handwork. I could sit and do handwork all day. Yeah. So music is another Mom Lesson. So with as a bonus for Thinking, Feeling, Willing, we also include our Music Unfolds curriculum that we co-authored last year. And that's a curriculum that teaches music to teaches music to everybody, but especially written for non-musical people so that you can understand it from beginning to end. And it starts with kindergarten and goes to grade 3. And there's lessons in there. It's broken down. Oodles of songs that my co-author wrote. There's stories in there for 1st and 2nd grade. Has, Super Sam stories, and there's extra ones in there. If you have our kindergarten curriculum, there's more Super Sam stories in the music curriculum. Okay, so let's see. I'm on 11, so I did music. So there is schooling several children. Oh, Elizabeth says, my battery is dying. Hurry, go find the plug. So they're schooling several children. That's a Mom Lesson because that's a lesson that a lot of people need. And I have 5, so I understand what it's like to school several children. And so there's a whole Mom Lesson there. There's a Mom Lesson called Writing Your Own Curriculum. So if you'd like to be writing your own curriculum, there's a whole Mom Lesson, and that's a gigantic Mom Lesson. That goes through a lot. We go through state standards, how Waldorf meets the state standards for everything from kindergarten to 12th grade. And we talk about Steiner's recommendations for people, people that need to meet those standards, and then like all of it. So it's all there. Let's see, what else? Oh, you guys, I'm missing some. Circle time creation. We did a product last year on circle time and understanding circle time from beginning to end, all the songs. I recorded 136 songs by myself. Not guaranteeing they all have perfect pitch, but I recorded 136 songs. And so it's all there. It's all there. Blessed with Pigtails says, oh my goodness, I need to get back to reading the Mom Lessons. Oh, yes, you do. I highly recommend that you go through those Mom Lessons once a year. Just for a good refresher. Just so that you don't, there's stuff that will reveal itself every time you read and go through them. And so let's see, which ones am I missing? Is that 17, you guys? I said reading, writing, and spelling the Waldorf way. There's that one. I think I got them all. They're all laid out and listed on our site. They're all in depth. You can go into them and really dive in and really learn. This is like college level courses that you learn, and you learn from somebody who understands what it's like to be a mom at home with kids. So the Thinking, Feeling, Willing program, the bulk of it is these mom lessons. And then bonus, all the curriculum for all the years is all there. So we currently have through grade 9, through 6th is full, through 9 is a 7th, 8th, and 9th is a guide. And we do a lot of work with the moms that are there and in high school with sort of planning them out, making sure they feel confident for their year. We go through that every summer. We have extra time with those moms so that they feel really good about sort of what they're doing. And so there's that. Plus this year, are you ready? Hard copies are included with your membership. So, oh, my video paused on Instagram. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to share this one and start another one. Okay, I don't know what happened. I hope you guys come back that we're on Instagram. Especially those of you who are waiting until the end to get the freebie. If not, DM me and we'll help you out. So hard copies are included this year for new Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, those that sign up in this launch. And what does that mean? That means that the curriculum that's already in hard copy, you'll get copies of as you need them. Anything that comes out in hard copy from here on in, you'll also get those. And Planning for Peace journal every year, like everything that you need. If you're loving hard copy, then you'll be able to have that as well. What else? Oh, we do weekly coaching check-ins. So I do office hours once a week. And with that, you can come and ask any questions and, any help that you need. I'm there every week. I'm there every week for an hour. And it's usually on Friday mornings, but we have there's a calendar and you can plan your time out. So if you have questions that you don't want to do a phone consult for and they're too complicated for the support group, you can come and ask there. There's Zoom chats, so you can come ask, you can screen share with me, show me what's going on, and we'll dive in and help you with that. So that's every week we do those. We also have a community, and I'm setting it up like I just didn't have time this morning. Setting it up today, a community that is not on Facebook. We've had so many moms beg us for a community that's not on Facebook. We have a current community that's on Facebook, and it will not go away, at least not for a while. But we're transitioning to a community that's not on Facebook. And then we'll be able to, I'm really excited about this. So those of you who are Thinking, Feeling, Willing members that are listening, do this happy dance. There will be subgroups for each of the grades. So you can, and it'll all be in one place. We will all also have a space where we can share lesson plans so you can share with each other, because our curriculum is amazing, but it's also a jumping off point. And I had a mom say to me the other day, I have 3 kids, I don't want to teach the same thing 3 times. So she said she tweaks it a bit and she has things that she wants to share with other people. So we'll have that. We'll be able to have other people share their main lesson drawings. And I'm super excited about that opportunity. Okay, what was the other thing? Oh, this was the thing that I wanted you guys to come back to. And I remembered, so you don't have to. So we decided that we were doing something. I just, a couple of weeks ago, I thought, I want to bring some of these amazing people that I know. Because, I've been at this for a long time. I know a lot of Waldorf teachers, worked with a lot of them. I have a lot of friends that are in that space. So I started emailing them. And we're going to have masterclass calls within Thinking, Feeling, Willing. And I think, so right now I think I've got everything booked out till January. And I'll just give you a couple of ideas as to who's coming. So these will be calls. You'll get the link. You'll get to come online and talk to these teachers, ask them all your questions. They'll be presenting on a topic. I will tell you the ones that have given me the thumbs up that yes, they want to, and also the ones that haven't responded to me yet. So the first one will be in May, and it will be Siglinda G. Francesca, who has written Coloring with Block Crayons and the Dauncey of Gnome series. She is going to come and talk about storytelling, likely. She'll probably also talk about block crayon drawings because people will ask her that all the time. So there'll be that. Carrie Dentler, my pal over at Parenting Passageway. She's going to come and talk. She'll probably be talking about transitioning to older kids, how that looks. Also, you know, not being so stressed out. She and I have been at this for a long time. Our friendship goes way back. I have known her for more than 10 years. And yeah, our friendship goes way back. So there will be that. What else who am I missing? Oh, I also got a thumbs up from Roberto Trostley, who wrote Rhythms of Learning. He also wrote Physics is Fun. So those of you who have older kids, you'll know that title, Physics is Fun. He also has new physics books. So I want him to come and talk about that. I also got an email back, I need to get on the phone with him, from Jamie York of Making Math Meaningful. I want him to come and help some of us get through some math blocks. I love it. He calls himself a math missionary. So he's hopefully going to come and do one. I have also written the people at Sparkle Stories. And Jody Messler's going to come and from the music making, butchering it, home music making. So sorry, Jody. She's amazing. Look her up on Facebook. We also have another music teacher that I want to come that I'm going to email today. At least one other music teacher, maybe two. I have two in mind. My co-author and then another music teacher as well. We have other people that I have in my list in my head. So if you can think of somebody, if you're thinking Feeling Willing member or you're about to hop on and become one, and you're like, I want to hear from these people, send me a message. I will message them and see if they'll come. I wanted a space for them to come and talk about what they do, and also for you guys to be able to connect with them. And a lot of times people can't get to conferences, and so this is a great way to have just a mini little mastermind class. And I find that that is such a strong way to learn. And so I'm very excited about that. That's only for Thinking Feeling Willing members. We're not letting anybody else in the doors for that. So with that, those are all the bonuses that I had in mind. We also have a fast acting bonus for anybody that purchases between now and tomorrow night. So Thursday night, between Wednesday and Thursday night. This will be for anybody who makes a single payment or a double payment, like a 2 payment. And I will talk to you about the payment methods. The fast acting bonus is $50 in homeschool products from Mercurius. And so that goes huge into your homeschool budget. And you can choose what it is that you want. If you want crayons, I'll get you crayons. Pencils, I'll get you pencils. You want lesson books, I'll get you lesson books. You tell me what you want, and I'll make it happen for you. And we'll get those sent out. So that's only if you order between now and tomorrow night. So once you order, I want you to send a message to melissa@waldorfessentials.com and let me know what's on your list that you'd like me to help you check off with regards to homeschool supplies. So, okay, I'm going to talk about price because I know that's what everybody wants to know. So you can make a single payment of $697, 2 payments of $348, and there's no additional there. That's just $697 divided by 2, or 6 payments of $145. Now you save money by making a 2 payment or a single payment. You save like $173. And for those of you who are like, oh, I just can't do that, I want you to listen up. Some Waldorf schools cost $20,000 a year. $697 for your child's curriculum and your schooling for yourself for the life of your homeschooling is a drop in the bucket. And it really is something to very much think about. Like that's your first, if you were like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, no, I can't. I'm going to swipe away. I want you to listen. I want you to really think about what it is that you want to bring to your kids and how badly you want this. You know, we have payment plans. There's also a payment plan through PayPal. So you can do 6 months no interest with PayPal. And so then you can pay over 6 months and not pay the extra money that you would pay if you came through our site. So if you have questions, I want you to ask. So Elizabeth says, is this for all the grades? Yes, ma'am. All the grades. All the grades. And you'll pay one time and you don't ever pay again. You have access to it for life. Let's see, what other questions? Oh, and I was going to say, y'all want to hear from, you guys have some husbands that want to like weigh in and ask some questions? Because tonight at 6 o'clock Pacific, which is in just under 5 hours. My dear husband will be here, and he'll be answering questions. He will be here to support, but also because I know that sometimes dads are like, I want to know what you're spending that money on. He's going to talk about it. Do you know how many wives have written us messages that have said, my husband just told me, the first time it happened, I laughed. Then it happened like 10 more times. My husband just told me this was the best money he's ever spent on homeschooling, ever. That's a huge deal. Elizabeth says, just for one grade in most curriculum is like $250. Yes, and in Waldorf terms, it's more like $400 or $600. So this is the entire, all of it. If you are in a place where you want to go further in your Waldorf career, this is the place to be. You really want to be able to dive deep, and you'll get to a place where it'll be so fluid that you won't need the curriculum so much. So, the curriculum is always there. It's open and go. You understand, you understand what Steiner would recommend. You also understand yourself, because here's the great thing about homeschooling. I get this objection a lot. Isn't Waldorf really Eurocentric? It is, but here's the deal. It doesn't have to be when you're at home. When you're at home, it can be whatever you want. You look at the recommendations for your child's age, and then you can create something. If it's not already created, you can create something for just you. It's amazing. That's what homeschooling is all about. Homeschooling is about diving into your child. And what I love as a mom of 5 kids is every single one of them is different. So I can tailor it to the child, to their temperament, to what it is that they need. You can't do that in any other situation. Let's see. One mom says, my husband was one of them. He says, I've changed for the better. It is something that's common that I hear over and over again. When mom calms and learns how she wants to show up, here's what happens. Dad's like, oh, maybe I should show up better. That happens. Kids start showing up better. Your mother-in-law's not so irritating. My mother-in-law's not irritating, but a lot of people don't like their mother-in-laws. Aunt Susie's not so irritating. You can start to really tackle what's in front of you instead of being tied up in drama. Drama just sucks the life out of you. You get to be able to really hone what you want in your life. We do videos on a fairly regular basis on creating the life that you want. Because guess what? I lived in Southeast Idaho 6 years ago, moved from there to Utah. Was a step up for us because we didn't like where we were, and I was tired of being cold. In Utah, we decided what we wanted to create. So we've been in San Diego it was 5 years in October. In Utah, we decided what we wanted to create, and we made it happen. We didn't make it happen just by wishing it. We made it happen by doing each one of the steps, by believing in ourselves, by knowing what income we needed to have, by knowing how we needed to change what we were doing for people, how all of those things had to come into place. And I teach you all of that. So I would say Thinking, Feeling, Willing is mentoring, education and training for yourself for homeschooling with Waldorf, curriculum. It's also a really good dose of positivity and learning how to be a self-actualized person and learning how to be an agent for yourself. That's what you need. So if you're ready to sign up, hop over to thinkingfeelingwilling.com. It is live and ready to go. I'm still playing with that page, but it is pretty beautiful the way it is now. If you have any questions, please drop me a message. If you would like the thing that I promised at the beginning for everybody who watched it the whole way, if you're on Instagram, DM me the answer to this question, which is, don't say it on Facebook. Don't say it in the public. You want to send it to me via PM. PM or DM. Don't say it in public because then everybody will know. Send me the name of my first dog. That's how I'll know you stayed the entire time. Those of you who stayed the entire time, if you are Thinking, Feeling, Willing member already, why don't we just have a phone chat? Have a phone chat. If you'd prefer a $10 Starbucks gift card, I can do that too. Just let me know. And if you are not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, And then I am going to offer you a digital copy of the new Plan for Peace Journal, whichever one you want. So you should drop me a message. Let me know what the answer to that question was. And if you have any questions about the program, if you're thinking about it today, you're thinking, oh, I have more questions. Like I said, Eric and I will be back here at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we'll be answering more questions. We'll be going through the program even more. And we're actually going to try to do some screen share. So, excuse me, so you can see the inside of the program and see all of the pieces. So we're going to see if Facebook cooperates. That will be only on the Facebook end. So Instagram will still be here, but we just won't be able to do the screen share. So we'll come up with something. So if you guys have any questions, shoot me a message. I'm here. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to take a nap, I think. Probably not. I'd like to, but we're going to get some things finished. And I hope to see you all in Thinking, Feeling, Willing. Bye.